I am joined today by my friend Andrew with a good name. Hello, Andrew.
Yes, hello, Andy.
You see, if I'm Andrew, then I'm in trouble. That's the thing. Are you
Ah,
Andy in different circumstances, or is it always Andrew?
it's always Andrew, but people do shorten it at times, and sometimes they use it to wind me up as well. So
I really, I am shocked, absolutely shocked. I tell you that people could try and wind you up.
yeah, they do.
Right, and now you work for Leading the Way. Let's just delve into that a little bit, and then we can go wherever we're going to go. But
Yes.
what's Leading the Way all about for people who've never heard of that?
Right. So Leading the Way is a predominantly a radio television broadcasting ministry. So it started small in Atlanta, Georgia, where Dr. Michael Youssef, who's the founder of the organization, that's where he's based. And he just started small there in Atlanta, broadcasting his teaching from the Bible. And now, all these years later, that's spread far and wide across 6 continents in 28 languages, different radio and television platforms that we partner with, such as yourself. So that's predominantly what we're about, but we do have other aspects to the ministry as well. We have our own Kingdom satellite channel into the Middle Eastern countries, 22 Arabic speaking countries. And that is impacting the Muslim world because Dr. Yusuf comes from Egypt. He lived in Lebanon for a short time. He knows that world and he has a heart for that world. So he's trying to impact, obviously, those countries with the gospel. And we're hearing great stories, testimonies every quarter that gets sent to us in a report, which is wonderful. We've also got a little navigator device that's solar powered. And thousands of these are produced every year, programmed in different languages, and they have the whole New Testament and 150 of his Bible teachings, and they go around the world, especially to countries that are hard to reach, where perhaps missionaries and Bibles cannot go. And besides that, we've got our own Awake UK prayer movement, and as well our books and publications that get distributed everywhere. So there's different aspects to the ministry.
I don't know if you just mentioned that. How long has this been going now?
Well, since the late 80s. So,
80s.
yeah, 35 years, I think, or
Okay.
more. Yeah.
45. But yeah, it depends when. I mean,
Yes.
it's impressive. Um,
Yes.
Anything that can kind of get into hard to reach areas. I've seen some amazing projects. I mean, there are different satellite um, organizations, and how you want to word it, but TV companies, I
Yes.
guess, to a degree, who are broadcasting their signal into places where you physically can't go.
Yeah.
I know I followed various people. There was somebody came up with a hologram Bible, which
Oh, wow.
sounds science fiction. Absolutely
Mm.
not. Dead true. And it's a little thing that you can swallow if you need to hide it. But the reality is you can get the Bible on a wall in this little
Yes.
tiny pill. It's phenomenal what
Yes.
people can come up with for the gospel, which is, I just think it's fabulous.
Well, it's using technology. I mean, these devices, I heard recently that they tried distributing them in Indonesia, a number of villages, but they could only reach 2 villages because so many people were being saved along the way. uh, yeah, so they really make an impact. And of course, if someone is unable to see, they can listen instead to these devices. Or if they're immobile and they can't get to church, then they've got one of these devices in some of these countries, which is great.
I really get excited by that
Mm.
because I talk about the Bible as a living word. I'm sure you would as well, but it,
Mm.
it almost sounds a little bit. Well, it's a living word. It almost
Yes.
kind of loses something of the actual truth of
Yeah.
when you read a piece of scripture 80 times in a row, whatever it's going to be. Do you know what?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
changes its meaning. Not it changes what it means, but you can see something new every time because it really is alive. And the Bible is not just a good book. It is a good book. It's a very good moral code.
Yeah.
However, it's much more than that because it changes lives.
Mm. Absolutely. And it speaks to our situation, right where we are. And this is why, it's all the time it's speaking to us because we're always in different situations every day. So whatever we face, it's going to speak into our life. And it cuts to the heart. It convicts us by the Holy Spirit. It's the only book of its kind, really, that does that. So.
Absolutely right. A couple of things I wanted to touch on. One was a trip to Nepal that you've had, but CRE, which we
Yes.
didn't get to this year. Now, we went 2 years ago, so that's 2023, when they were in Solihull area.
Yeah.
So Creation Resources exhibition this year was in Milton Keynes, which I think is more of its home
Yes.
geography. How did you find the conference?
Well, so this year it was back actually at Sandown Park. Last year it was at Milton Keynes, and I went last year because it's a different catchment area, and I did meet a lot of people from that region. It's interesting how it does definitely attract people from the locality. Back at Sandown Park, it was their 40th anniversary this year,
Wow.
so I wanted to make the effort to get to Sandown Park, where it traditionally has been in the past, and it was a good flow of people. Good interactions, as always. The thing is, it's about being visible as an organisation, and I think that's important. A lot of supporters came up and said, "Oh, it's great to see you here." We listened to Dr. Yusuf, we watched Dr. Yusuf on this radio station or this TV platform, and so it's just good to be there and to meet a lot of our supporters, let alone people who don't know anything about us. And so we're sharing for the first time. We're handing out literature and engaging in whatever way we can, really.
I guess that was kind of one of my questions. Why does Leading the Way go to a conference, put up a stand? It takes time, money, resources. You stood there.
Yeah.
I think the question I wanted to ask is why does that matter?
It's all about the in-person, face-to-face. You can't beat that. I can send emails or make phone calls, which I do to our donors and supporters regularly. But to actually meet in person just is for them a real joy and excitement, and they love seeing us there. So I think it's all about that interaction one-to-one, and that's always my preferred option. I don't go mad, trying to reach every Christian event, every Christian festival, otherwise I'd be worn out. But I choose 3 to 5 a year, and CRE was on the list this year, really. Next year we're definitely going to opt for a big church festival and some other festivals as well.
I think there is something so wonderfully personable about being in person, because we can watch, we can listen, and that is immensely powerful. COVID, if it taught us nothing else, it's the power of preaching and teaching through digital devices, Zoom particularly, where a lot of churches suddenly discovered what's this Zoom thing. And it's great, and it's really powerful, and it's amazing. I was chatting with a guy from California who was in Paris, and we chatted yesterday. I mean, is what digital can do.
Countries, it is amazing, isn't it, really? Yes, that's right.
But you can't beat saying hello.
But then, saying hello when it's the UK, making an effort. I know it's money spent, but it's money well spent, I think. As I say, just prioritising, being strategic about where to go, different audiences. I try and mix it up each year, to be honest. Yeah.
Which I think is important. We love playing the material on the station because I just think it's good quality. Nothing more complicated than that. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, not let's go to Nepal. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
That would be great.
Let's travel by map, as the Muppets would do.
Yes.
Just why did you go to Nepal recently? Just tell us a bit about that.
Well, it was a bit like Paul and his vision of the man in Macedonia, calling him across, urging him to come. And I've had a pastor friend over there for a number of years, and he said, Andrew, we'd love you to come and to bless and encourage the pastors in Nepal. We really need some of that, in Nepal. And I'm putting it off. I'm not sensed by the Spirit of God that it's been the right timing, but this year it did. And the door flung wide open. Everything seemed to fall into place. It's of the Lord when that happens. I went in Leading the Way time, and our local church, Romford Evangelical Free Church, where I'm now an elder actually this year, they financed it, which was great, from a legacy fund. So the door opened, and of course you know what happened. I mean, there was many months of planning for a one-day conference, principally a one-day conference for senior pastors and denominational leaders from Kathmandu city and some of the surrounding provinces. So we had on the day 80 senior pastors there, which was planned. It was a full day from breakfast through to tea in the evening, and I did 3 one-hour sessions. And you had some senior pastors there who have 350 churches across the country. I mean, it's phenomenal. So they are like the top of the stack. And basically the idea was to try and disseminate that teaching across the networks so that it had a kind of ripple effect from the conference. But of course, you know what happened beforehand? There was one, I was flying via Doha with Qatar Airways, and Israel had just bombed Doha that week. Part of Doha. And also then there was this political unrest, this civil unrest in the country from Gen Z, who were unhappy that all their social media platforms had been shut down by the government. So they went on the streets to protest. It turned violent. Buildings were burnt down. Some of them were shot dead. It was a real mess. And I thought, well, will I ever go? But the day I flew in on the Saturday, I said, I'm going to go, whatever happens. I had to change hotels because I would be unsafe in the hotel where I was staying. So I moved slightly outside the city, which worked well. But the day I arrived, the curfew lifted and I had safe and free movement around the city, which was just the Lord's hand on it all, to be honest.
That is so cool. Honestly, I like hearing how God goes ahead. And the bit that you said that really struck me, I thought, interesting, was you felt maybe this might be a thing to do, but it wasn't the time to do it. And so often in our lives, we have, I don't know, there's two ways of looking at it. We either have the money so we can go, it doesn't matter. We've got the money, we can find. We don't even necessarily check with God, do you want us to go? But we can. Therefore, we see that as a green light, off we go. And then there's the other version of, as you did, waiting. Not just for an invitation, but the ability as well. It's not just, come. That's easy. Everyone invites people all over the place, but actually it's more than that.
You see, I get invites from Africa and all sorts, and it's just knowing what the Lord wants at this time. And this year, getting a visa was easy. The jabs, no reaction to those. Just everything seemed to come together. It's of the Lord. But most of all, I was convicted by the Holy Spirit. And then the Lord almost... I downloaded the Lord's teaching, and I'll just share with you, if I can, what I actually brought to the country, because I sensed this was the message that I was to bring. And I did 3 sessions. The first session was on personal aspects of your Christian life. So keep your first love, keep yourself pure, keep seeking the Lord, keep in step with the Spirit, keep alert for enemy attack, and keep away from loving money, which is an issue in that country. So that was the personal teaching. Then after that was more the pastoral. Keep to your calling, keep preaching without compromise, keep shepherding the flock, keep your spiritual fervour, keep glorifying Jesus, and keep strong to the end. So that kind of rounded up the morning. Then the afternoon, I did a whole session on keep reaching the lost, because I felt I needed to end with this call to evangelize, which is challenging in that country because you're not allowed to evangelize on the streets. You're not allowed to openly evangelize. So it was... just a challenge to them really throughout the whole day. And I felt they were really with me. They were really gripped by it, and they were taking loads of notes and discussing it. And so it was fantastic time. And then I had other opportunities to actually teach on, from one of Dr. Yusuf's books, The Leadership Style of Jesus, to teach in Kathmandu Bible Institute on the leadership style of Jesus, to draw out points from that book and principles. Also spoke to a youth gathering at a large church in the centre of Kathmandu, preached at a few other churches, spoke at a school assembly of 300 pupils outdoors. So all these wonderful opportunities as well alongside the actual conference day.
God so often, and I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with this, God will ask us to do something. He'll invite us because he's a gentleman. Absolutely. He never says, do this. It's like, would you do this with me? And when he calls us, we have to make a decision of, do I think, is this God's voice? Yeah, pray, seek wisdom, counsel, all of that. But when you think to the end of that, I know God's asked me, you then have to be willing to actually go. And you were on the way to a violent place. But you have to be willing, because ultimately, if God's called you, and as Christian people, we don't get to say, oh, we're not going there, it's not very safe. That's irrelevant. It might be relevant in planning, but that's it.
That's right. The first trip I went on in 2011 was to Haiti after the earthquake. As a chaplain to Samaritan's Purse and the workers out there. And it's, again, a very dangerous place. I was kept under armed guard everywhere I went.
Wow.
And ministered and saw the Lord do amazing things out there, especially in the cholera clinics and out in the community and preaching the gospel in churches. Even had a voodoo priest respond to the gospel in one of the churches. He came that morning, which was just amazing. They'd been praying for years, and there I tip up out of the blue, and he comes to Christ. So you just, you've got to just go, and that's what, G.O., get out.
I like that one.
So, so it's, whatever the danger, trust the Lord. I'd still do my police work. I'm on shift this week. Again, I'm getting out there. I'm trusting the Lord to keep me safe. I'm ministering on the front line. And that's, maybe that's more my calling. I don't know. But it seems that, that's the command, isn't it? Go.
Let me float this one. I was having a chat with a guy who has been all over the world. He worked for World Vision for quite a while, doing TV work for them in different countries. And we had a conversation about being risk averse. Now, this guy's from America originally, now lives elsewhere. He's been all over 130 countries. But we were talking about being risk averse. And my commentary was kind of along the lines of, I think as British people, we're far too quickly, easily risk averse. Oh, that's not very safe. No, we'll step back from that. But actually, in taking those risks, which is the bit we were chatting about the other day, in taking those risks, there are some amazing things. Now, the reality is, if you take a risk, it can go wrong. And that's probably where perhaps a British reserve spirit may be something. But actually, taking those risks, yes, it can go wrong, but actually, it can go right.
Yes, it can. If it's the Lord's will, the right timing, everything. And I was always told that faith is spelled R-I-S-K, because that's what it is. You've got to step out in faith. Otherwise, we're not going to take the gospel to the ends of the earth and into these dangerous places. But just a few instances over the years that I've been in this position, but on a regular basis with the police, that's certainly the case.
Yes, police are often not liked. They're the ones you want and not to see if you've just been speeding, but the ones you want when you have a crisis, and they are often in this juxtaposition of loved and hated with extremes.
Well, I've been challenged recently again because, sad to say, we had a police suicide last month, and I was called upon at 6 a.m. to come alongside the team, who were obviously in shock and disbelief. So they pulled the whole team off shift, and I was there to come alongside with some other professionals as well and offer support. So you're sometimes thrown into very harrowing situations, as I was recently, and I'm keeping support, alongside that team at the moment. Yeah.
I want to come back into that, but when you went to Nepal, you're speaking to these people. I mean, this is the power of the gospel, isn't it? You're just one person, okay? You have one person, one voice. You have 24 hours in a day like the rest of us, and yet you're speaking to people, and that then disseminates, and it's like ripples in a lake. Have you had any feedback from them, from what it is you went to teach them, or just even being there?
Yeah, they were so appreciative more than anything else that I'd taken the time and the effort given the circumstances of their nation. And we saw the burnt out buildings. It was still tense there. There was still riot police on the streets in case anything flared up. They were just so appreciative that I'd actually come all that way to minister, to invest, to be almost like an ambassador. It felt like I was a real ambassador on this trip, actually, representing the Lord, representing Leading the Way and Romford Evan, where we worship. So it was all of that combined, to be honest. And I've had amazing feedback. They just so appreciated the teaching. It was just the right teaching they needed to hear. So many pastors said that. They want me to go back, of course. Again, I've got to be directed by the Lord to see if that's right in the coming years. Overall, very positive from the feedback I have heard.
And it sounded really good. I mean, the keeping on. I always think of Dory in Finding Nemo. Just keep on swimming. And do you know that one moment, that one little silly fish in a cartoon? There's a lot we can learn from that as Christians. You have to keep going. And when it gets hard, that's not a sign that it's bad. When it gets really good, that's not a sign that it's of God. Because actually, the road is narrow, and it's quite circuitous and twisty. Mine is. But when you walk one step at a time with your hand in God's, amazing things can happen once you allow that risk to grow, right? Wisely, righteously, absolutely. But it's the risk stuff where amazing things happen, and we've seen that a number of times in our lives, where you do put yourself in a position where you can get a lot of criticism. Yes, we opposed the lap dancing club. We were the only ones to do so in the end, pretty much, and we stopped it. And why? Not because we were amazing, but we were just willing to say, "Okay, Lord, I'll stand." Yeah, actually, that's true. And the word keep is often in the Bible. If that's where some of the titles came from, of course. Keep yourself pure is in Scripture. Keep your spiritual fervour. So it's just natural that those titles came out, but I just added others from Scripture and shared with them as what the Lord had given to me. So. Which is all we can do.
Yeah, that's right. We are just the messengers at the end of the day.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I want to come back to Leading the Way, but just tell us more about the work you do as police. Why are you getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go and help a bunch of people who have lost a colleague?
Yeah, well, I mean, this goes back 24 years ago when I first started. I've been in this role for so long now. I'm almost part of the furniture. Everyone knows who I am. The posters are on the wall in case they need to call me out. So when I was with London City Mission many years back, this role began, and it was full time, actually covering five police divisions in the metropolitan area of London. Now it's just a slice of that I took with me because the door was wide open again, and I just knew the Lord was still wanting me to do this ministry that is frontline. It always has been from the early days, where I'm actually alongside the officers for an 8-hour shift, which means I can relate to them better. I can understand the world of policing. I can see what they see. I can support them on the front line, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And at the end of the day as well, I'm like a police officer. I become like a police officer to win police officers. So some have come to faith over the years, which is wonderful. Praise the Lord. So it's about sowing seeds. It's about being there and having faith conversations. But I've certainly been in so many different circumstances where it could have gone horribly wrong. But the Lord has protected me and used me so wonderfully.
Which, again, it comes back to that being willing to go and saying, yes, Lord, send me. You might laugh. When I was younger, I didn't like hot places, and I still don't. I've discovered I've got a bit of an allergy to the sun. So I used to pray, go with it a second. I used to pray, please, Lord, send me to the Caribbean or Africa, because I really believed on some really misguided teenage teaching that
Yes.
if you pray against something, God will send you there. So I thought, if I pray for that, he won't send me. Now, as much as that is ridiculous and nonsense, you can see my heart of, I knew that God was real, but I didn't want to go to hot places because that would be bad. Anyway, so I prayed about it. But actually, when I pray, please don't send me to Manchester, because I knew it when I did a year's mission in 95. Where did I go? I went to Manchester. No, that's not to prove a point at all. I'm being silly. But it's easy to say, well, I'll go to the nice places and I'll go to these places because it's comfortable. Yeah. And God might call you to nice, comfortable places. Possibly not.
Well, I said to the Lord when I first started out, I studied architecture at Nottingham. And then I said, when I was called to ministry at that stage during my degree, I said, Lord, I'm never going to London. I actually meant that. I'm never going to London. And I've been in London ever since. So that just proves it, really. Never say never.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically. But no, the role with the police, I feel like it keeps me in touch with the real world. It keeps me sharp. It keeps me focused. I feel I make a real difference. I can pray at the scene of incidents quietly in the background, and I've seen amazing results from that as well over the years. I mean, it's now or never, really, when you're praying in that sort of situation.
Yep.
And then I've really been hands-on, as well. I've directed traffic at road traffic accidents. I've chased suspects. I've helped arrest someone. I've comforted grieving families at suicide, sudden deaths, and, everything, really. And that I've been in the press so much, local press, because they see all the chaplains out on patrol. It's so unheard of. But the public really love it, and it really calms down domestic situations, youth trouble, everything I've found over the years. Having as they see, an ordained member of the church there, it takes them by surprise and actually makes a real difference. So good man. It matters though, isn't it? Because people have a respect for, I'm going to call it the cloth just for a moment. I went into a situation where we were being given a house belonging to the church for a job we were doing in the church. And the problem was the house that we were given had a family in it who didn't want to leave. So we went to look at the house, and I'm thinking, I can't believe we're actually going to look at the house to see if we want the house for a job, and there's a family in it. We were not comfortable. The vicar came with us, and I watched the power of the cloth. Literally, he went in his garb. He said, I don't like it, but I'm going to leave it on because it helps. So he went on with all this stuff on. He was a bishop as well, so he had this fancy thing. But it was a way that he was able to go into a very difficult, tense situation, and just being kind, compassionate, loving, patient, listening, just totally transformed it. Yeah, diffuses. I find I diffuse situations at times. Yeah. They announce as well, oh, we've got the chaplain with us, and sometimes that straight away diffuses. I've got chaplain on my epaulets. I've got a massive chaplain on my back. You can't ignore the fact that I'm a chaplain. And of course, they come up with all the jokes like, "Oh, here's Charlie," or we call him Rev 1. His call sign's Rev 1. So all the police banter, which I enjoy. But yeah, there's a serious, obviously, side to it all.
But it just goes to show that what you're doing in that role for the police service around London, that's part of you being able to go to Haiti.
Yeah.
It's part of why you can go to difficult places in Nepal, which many people think, oh, no, 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 can't do that.
Yeah.
But if it's something you're experiencing all the time, it's less of a huge issue.
Yes, I mean, it was for me going to Nepal. I couldn't be bothered really whether it was, they were fighting over there. I was still going to go, and the Lord would take care of me, because that's been my experience all these years. So yeah, I just get on with it, which is perhaps again unique to my calling in many ways. Yeah,
that's what God does, though. Nothing's wasted.
No.
And that's easy to say, but in your situation, the fact you're out with the police and you're going into difficult situations means you can go to Haiti and you can go wherever, because do you know what? This is just a Friday night back home.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's right. We did see lovely views in Nepal, by the way. I was taken up to a high point, 7,000 feet high. And we saw, this was for sunrise. We got up at 4 a.m. in the morning and we saw the Himalayan mountains, the whole range. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, and then when I flew out, I didn't see Everest on that occasion, but when I flew out of Kathmandu, about sort of 5-10 minutes into the flight, I looked out the window and there was Everest there above the clouds. Amazing.
Wow.
I got a quick photograph.
Yeah, I think I would have done as well. Get out of the way, I'm coming through.
Yeah. So, yeah, amazing place.
It is. Let's come back to leading the way, which is how we met at a big church in 24, I think it was.
Yeah.
I know we've touched on this a little bit in a previous interview, but how is it you find yourself working for Leading the Way, doing the job that you do? How do you find that role today?
So my role as UK Europe Director is very much about being the representation of Leading the Way here in the UK. We don't have any other staff, although we're about to recruit a 20-year-old to look after all our social media platforms, which is great. We do have a back office that take all the phone calls, book orders, donations. So I don't do any of that. My role is to be out there, really. So I'm going to meetings, I'm speaking at churches, sharing about Leading the Way. I'm exhibiting, like at CRE and Big Church Festival. And then I'm also looking after our donors. So I'm often thanking them by phone or email, and especially the higher level donors. We did have Dr. Yusuf over here in July, who he met with some of the key leaders like Gavin Cower from EA and Mike Royal from Churches Together in Wales, some of those sort of figures. But also we had a donor lunch reception with Dr. Yusuf, and there were about 30, 40 high-level donors there at that. So my role is to really make sure everything's running well internally, but also representing the ministry externally. It's very much in my own hands, the way I use my time, which is great. I've got such freedom, which means I can do the police work. I can do my other role with the Royal Air Force Air Cadets as the London Wing Chaplain. I can be elder of the church. So those other 3 voluntary roles fit in around my Leading the Way time quite well, actually.
Which is great, because when you follow God, when you seek God and you go to Nepal, or you go out on a Friday night into wherever it is with the police, you have to be open to what God might send your way.
Yes.
But that ability to be flexible. See, not everybody could do that. Some people would want 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, 5:05, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people would love that, but actually you're clearly the person that would be quite happy with a bit here, a bit over there, and it's flexible.
But then I do have my family time, and I carve that out very strictly. Like Saturday, I won't be doing anything but being with the family. Sunday will be worshipping if I'm not out speaking, which I'm not this Sunday. It's here at home. So the weekend is generally protected time, but there are some things that do encroach now and then. But yeah, I'm very strategic, very sort of focused. I work at home, and yes, I don't mind. My whole life is a calling. It's a calling. So if something does come up in the evening, I may respond if it's right. If I'm spending time with my wife, I may say, well, I'll leave that till tomorrow. Just discerning, really. Priority and importance of ministry at times, isn't it? Alongside family. So, yeah, it's that combination.
Let's go into that a little bit, because Saturdays for me is my day off. We work a 6-day week, Sunday through Friday. Saturdays, people know, presenters, writers that we look after, we don't work. We finish around 9 o'clock on a Friday night when the last show goes out. By 9:30, we're done till Sunday morning. So we have a Saturday off, and we do try and protect it, but also Sometimes stuff comes up on a Saturday. I'm running a radio station. We can't ignore we're off air, or I can't log in, or that we have to respond to. So how would you advise people to have a really good, healthy approach to living that incorporates being flexible and also rigidly saying, you know what, this needs to be protected?
Yeah, exactly. So, for instance, after Nepal, when I'd been away for 10 days and before that getting ready, I came back and spent some time with my parents, who are elderly. I took them away for 3 or 4 days. Then I spent some time with my wife. I took her away for 3 days. So I built in time afterwards to make up for the loss, as it were. But having said that, Anna and I, my wife and I, we are doing much more together. So in ministry, now she didn't come with me to CRE last week. She'll be coming to Big Church Festival next year, but she's assisting me much more, and we're doing things together much more now. Our children are older. I sometimes I'm going next year to Prague on one of her nursing conferences to be with her away, so that we're not separate all the time. So we're trying to join it together much more. But if there is a weekend where, yes, I'm taken out because something's occurring, maybe it's planned, maybe it's sudden, then I'll always try and make up the following week or two afterwards in some way to invest time in the family and with my wife.
It's easy to think, oh, nothing I can do, time's gone, I got called away, oh well, just live with it, tough, let's get on with life. But the bit that I think you're really pulling out really beautifully is it's being intentional, which is easy to say, but then actually following through. So it's not just, let's have some time together, it's let's have some time together. Right, we are having time together, and we had time together. And it's being intentional and actually following through.
Yeah, and sometimes when I went away with my wife recently, didn't take the laptop, didn't look at work emails, ignored everyone, put an out of office message on. You've got to be really strict on that. Otherwise, your time away will be broken up. You won't get the rest you need. So it is being intentional, definitely.
Very much so. And we try as much as we can. Sometimes we work weekends. It's the way it goes. We've got a very busy November when we're away, I think 3 times in something like 8 days. So we're already building into that. Okay, well, we need a day off here. We can't have a day there. We can't work 10 days in a straight. So how are we going to get that? I mean, we're trying to work ahead to make sure we don't just work, 14 days in a row, which is not beneficial. Maybe call to it. Can't ever say no, not ever. I know plenty of missionaries who go abroad and do work, and they just work flat out. Brother Andrew opened doors classically 60 days in. I work 60 days visa. I work for 60 days, so never say never on that one.
When you're on a mission trip like Nepal, you're only there for 8 days. You want to maximize those 8 days. Yes, I had still some rest. So after the conference on the Tuesday, which was all day, from very early morning to late at night, I had a whole day of rest on the Wednesday to recuperate and prepare for the next day. So when you're there as a missionary short term, I think you do want to give your all. But when it's the marathon race at home here, that it is, pace it, you factor in time out. We go to the gym, Anna and I, each week. We might go on walks. We have those moments. And sometimes even during the week, Monday to Friday, Anna doesn't work Mondays. So we might go out for lunch on a Monday. Now I'm supposed to be working, but I just keep an eye on the email occasionally and then come back and respond to anything. So it's all about that, carving out the time, isn't it?
Flexibility requires intentionality.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I like that.
Otherwise, your time just drifts away if you're not careful.
It's very easy to nibble away at the edges and then the middle, and then talk about burning the candle at both ends, but it's easy to stick it over a hot plate at the same time and think, where's it gone?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's move away from the hot. Right, Andrew, thank you. If people want to find out more about Leading the Way, how do they do that?
So the best way to go is our website, ltw.org. ltw.org, very simple. It's got everything on the website, including our Open Door campaign, which is our 5-year campaign at the moment to reach and impact the UK, the Muslim world, and remote places. You can read all about that on there. You can download the app as well on your phone. The app is a really good tool. It's now got a new tool on the app called My Faith Assistant, which is AI generated. Dr. Yusuf saying we're redeeming AI. AI is used to answer people's questions about faith. So you can type in any question like, what is hell? It will come up with a biblical answer there for you. So the app on your phone, just go to the App Store, download it, and you've got their devotions for every day. You've got all of Dr. Yusuf's latest teachings. You've got this My Faith Assistant, and there's so much more as well. So the website, ltw.org, and the app, 2 places to go.
Fabulous. Or just listen to our radio 12 o'clock on a
right.
Sunday. works the same way. But you've got a few more on your website. Andrew, thank you. It's been a pleasure just to find out more about Nepal, because I was excited when I knew you were going. I wanted to get a little bit about that, and I'm really grateful and appreciative of you going a little bit into your work as a chaplain, because it's a work that's often quite invisible, but it matters. So thank you.
No, pleasure. Good to be with you.
Rated 5 stars by Sorted Magazine's film critic, Pure 247 takes you behind the scenes of the birth of a global Christian radio station. Andy B will have you laughing and crying as you discover what it takes to create ministry that matters in this inspiring tale of perseverance, honesty and vulnerability. Buckle up and get ready for a story that's uplifting as it is entertaining. Behind the microphone, they face bankruptcy, eviction, and 2 life-changing surgeries. Can they make it? Will they make it? Get your copy of this life-changing book today. Pure 247 is available now on Amazon. Andy B is best described as a man after God's own heart, who insists that God's vision and resourcing trump all handicaps.